Good day, good day. It's God Says Ministries, the House of Fire, and I'm Prophet Tavis. So, we had a very short trip to India when they decided to kick me out for the most petty of petty reasons under the sun. And about 4 hours into the interrogation, you could see the embarrassment on the immigration officers' faces and in their eyes that they had detained me for coming in on a tourist visa to visit my friend Himanshu, and they had detained me because I came in under false pretense on a tourist, and they told me I must have a religious visa, which there is no such thing as in India. So basically, any pastor or any fivefold part of the ministry of the Christian faith comes in on the tourist visa, whether they going on a holiday or going on a holiday plus meeting friends of the same faith, is now going to be kicked out of India because they entered on false pretense. So, as I said in the video before, I am going to write, which I have done, a letter to the Prime Minister of India. I have done, and I'm going to read that letter to you now. And I'm asking you out there, whoever may see this video, to pass this video on so that the Prime Minister of India receives these words that I have written down to him. I have posted it also on a number of channels as Twitter and everything, even on his Twitter account, but whether it gets to him or not, I'm still going to be emailing it to a number of official Indian sites and wherever I may get it. But I thought I would read the letter in my own voice and let you hear what I have said. So the letter is an open letter from Tavis Oostingh, Prophet Tavis, of South Africa, to the Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi of India. Dear Mr. Prime Minister, I write this letter with the peace that surpasses understanding, that peace that only comes from God. I write holding no grudge against the men and women of the Mumbai immigration officers at the Mumbai International Airport. But I write this letter with much disappointment in a few people of your great nation that have appointed themselves judge, jury, and with the attitude of I know what's best for my people, for the people of India. In 2020, I met a humble man from your country, and we became good friends and brothers. We spent many hours, sometimes for days in a row, talking to each other on WhatsApp video calls about our lives and visions for the people of our two nations. In April of 2022, he invited me to come to India, and so we got time face to face, and I stayed in his home for the month that I was there with his whole family. Yes, we are both Christian men. Both of us are ministers of the gospel, me being a prophet and him being a pastor. I helped build toilets, walls, and other things at his church building in his village, and we supplied help to struggling people of his village and the surrounding villages in a form of food. No, no matter their religion. No matter their religion. My friend is and has been helping all people, no matter what faith they belong to. And so is my life lived as well. My friend invited me back to India this year, and I got everything organized that was needed for my trip to India, including my visa. I was going to spend 2 months with him this time because I was also invited to his sister's wedding by his family. Before I came to India on my first trip, I inquired from the Indian Embassy in South Africa on the available visas, which I was told that I had to enter on a tourist visa, seeing that India did not have a missionary visa, and so I did. I flew to your country on the 3rd of February 2023. When I arrived at immigration, I presented my visa to the officer at the desk, and he stamped my passport for my stay in India. But I missed my flight to Raipur because there were a large number of people at immigration and only a couple of officers. I left the airport after finding my luggage 4 hours later, bought a new ticket to Raipur, found a taxi to a small hotel until my flight early the next morning. I arrived back at the airport early, not wanting to miss this flight because my friend was driving 11 hours from his village to pick me up in Raipur. When the time came to board my flight, I walked over to the boarding gate, where I was met by 2 immigration officers who took my passport and detained me. I was then interrogated by the 2 officers about my trip to India and why I entered falsely on a tourist visa and not a religious visa, which they knew very well does not exist. I was then told that I had to leave India or I would be deported. Today is the 7th of February, and I'm typing this from South Africa. The pettiness of my whole experience is beyond understanding. Within 4 hours of my detention, the embarrassment was clearly visible on the faces and in the eyes of all the immigration officers, as they realized I was no threat to anyone, and the people in the villages had lost out on help that I came to provide, that was donated by many people around the world. I demand nothing from you, but I ask that the people of India are given the free will to choose the faith they want to follow, without being threatened by another over their choice, which is happening on a daily basis in the villages around my friend and his family. People are being chased out of their villages because they are Christians and are living in the forests. Churches are being destroyed and people are being beaten, all because another did not agree with their free choice to choose. I know there is no legal slavery in India, and India is fully against slavery. But to not have the choice to choose your faith is nothing more than being a slave to another. And this slavery is condoned in India. It must be. My very detention and kicking out of India speaks of this accepting norm. I followed the instructions of your embassy in South Africa. I did not enter India under any false intentions, and my free choice was violated by another's will. Yours sincerely, Tavis Oostingh, God Says Ministries, the House of Fire, South Africa. So that is the letter. Get this thing right, yeah? That is the open letter. Whoops, turn it a bit like that. Where is the original open letter? See if we can get it to focus. I'm trying to do this so that you can take a screenshot of the open letter and post it everywhere. But you can also take this video and post it everywhere. That the Prime Minister of India and his cabinet get to see this letter. As I said, I hold no grudge against the immigration officers, but the pettiness of a few is destroying relationships. The pettiness of a few is taking away of help that many poor people in India need. Whether they are Christian, whether they are Hindus, whether they are Muslims, or any other faith in India. If the little that I can do gets turned away, then how many little bits of the world are turned away in India? Little bits of help of the world are turned away in India. Yes, the big cities and everything, they run well. But the villages on the outsides and in the areas where there's no running water or electricity or anything, they are in the dark still. And the only way that they get help is through ministries like my friends and myself and people that so in and be a part of this ministry, that go over and give the little that they have to help a few, that maybe those few can end up becoming part of the little that help another few. But being so petty about telling me I am falsely entering India on a tourist visa when I should be on another visa which they know does not exist. It's just pure slavery to another person, another person's will. You are throwing the will of an individual away and imposing your will upon that person. And so I'd like you to make this video go viral if possible, and allow the government officials of India to see this, preferably the highest ranking one, the Prime Minister of India. Yes, there are a lot of Hindus in India, but those Hindus and the Muslims and the Christians have a choice of their own to choose to hear what I have got to say or to choose not to. They cannot choose to attack somebody because they don't like what you're saying and don't want it there. They have the choice to walk away and not listen. Or they have the choice to stand and listen and be a part of it, but to stand and listen and hear out what the person is saying and choose not to follow that person. We all have a free will. And if you take that free will of choice away, you are putting that person into bondage of slavery. That person has become your slave by you imparting your free will, your will upon that person's free will. So please, people, let's see if we can get this to the correct authorities, and that the authorities can at least speak to their people and say, you choose whether you want to follow this faith or this faith, but you do not choose for somebody else. God bless you, and may His favor drip from every part of you, in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.